Hello! Welcome to another episode of Oxygen Not Included. This episode, we're going to be focusing on some new rocket ships, as well as, with those new rocket ships, we'll be focusing on the Radbolt engine and getting a rocket ship kind of set up for our radiation asteroid, so we can go ahead and maybe start doing explorations from that asteroid and expand out our knowledge, and then from there we're going to probably start working on the achievements that we have left, right? With that, we've just had the mealwood seed, our first mealwood irradiated seed, so we can actually go ahead and dig that up. Pretty much all I've done up here is just move it from up here to down here. This means that we only have this amount here being blocking the radiation. So we're getting around 3,000 to 1.8 thousand rads across these plants, which is a lot better. And I've gone ahead and put this plastic here to protect the duplicants as they go and put their new suits on. And they don't need to climb the ladder and come all the way up here just to get the plants going, right? So with that, what we're going to do next is we're going to go ahead and plant ourselves our blossom seeds. Copy that across. And go ahead and take our plastic and that across the top. And we're going to put in one ceiling light, which will, I think, yeah, it'll cover up the whole thing. And then we'll go ahead and plug that in. Alrighty, I had to go ahead and put a wheeze board here because it's starting to get a little toasty up here. Because I don't really have anything in the terms of cooling. And the surrounding oxygen outside is in the upper 30s, lower 40s. So it's obviously going to get a little cold in here. So I'm going to put this wheeze board here. It'll add to the radiation, obviously. And it'll hopefully cool down these plants so our bristle blossoms, all of them, can grow nice and well. So from here, what we're going to want to do is two things. First of all, blasting off again. This rocket has served us well, but we are officially done with research, right? We've researched everything in the tree. We don't need to do that anymore. Because of that, we can go ahead and actually remove the orbital data collection lab. And with this removal, we can actually redo this entire interior to make it more efficient, right? Because the biggest flaw with this setup is you have to manually tell the duplicate to put their Atmos suit back on their way back, right? Or they will get burnt as they leave the rocket ship, and you have to tell them to sweep up the Atmos suit. It's an entire pain, right? So with that, I'm going to go ahead and strip this place clean, and we'll get started on the new design. Okie dokie. So this is the new layout for our rockets in the future that are strictly just one duplicate exploration types, right? And what I really like about this design is it incorporates the Atmos suit docks. We still have the telescope, and we still have the three main rooms: bedroom, great hall, washroom. Only difference here is obviously we've taken the bathroom that was over here on the left side, moved it over to the right, and put our hand sanitizer here. This middle kind of diagonal room is going to be our great hall, and then this room up in the top left is going to be the bedroom, of course, with our oxygen diffuser. All I've done is just taken the original loop we had and moved it over to the right. And one thing we do need to incorporate this time around, also automation, plumbing, and ventilation, right? This is how this is all going to work. One thing we do need to incorporate, however, now we have to incorporate is oxygen into the Atmos suit dock here, right? Because they can't dock a suit here and take it out unless the suit is full, which means we need to start getting oxygen into the rocket. And to do that, what we're going to need to do is actually start bringing in gas right here into this little entrance, we can go ahead and we'll actually make it out of sandstone because okay, we'll make it out of obsidian. There's gonna be a lot of heat here. And we don't have a lot of igneous rock left, I know, but we'll use up a chunk of it just to finish that up. And then we'll go ahead and take this, and we will do ventilation, gas bridge, jump it there, and say excess. Rock cancel. Copy. Just like so. And then there we go. We should now have oxygen when they're done with this coming up and filling up that atmosuit station. And when that is ready, we will launch our first mission elsewhere. Alrighty, so with that, I think we are ready to launch. Go ahead and begin launch sequence. We can go send our duplicate in. We have a bigger storage container this time, so we should be able to hold even more from our mining trip. We're gonna go to the same asteroid as before because we still have the same engine. But with that, and there we go. Take a look inside. Neef's already put away his atmosuit. He has everything he needs in here, and when he's ready to leave, he can just go right through and pick up the atmosuit, and we don't even have to do anything to tell him to do anything or anything like that. So overall, this is a really good setup. Now what we're going to want to do is I've set up a skill scrub over here, and I've scrubbed Bert, right, of his mechatronic engineering skills, and Bert's going to become kind of the de facto rocket pilot. Let me just make sure before I do anything silly. No one else wanted to be a rocket pilot, right? No. Yeah. So Bert's going to be kind of our de facto rocket pilot here. And go rock piloting 2. There we go. With this, Bert can be at least our temporary pilot unless we decide to get a 6th duplicate. We'll go ahead and rebuild our exosuit forge out of aluminum and get that set up. How we do it up here, still doing pretty good. One thing I've learned is that this Radbolt generator or something here is generating liquid nuclear waste, and it's displacing the petroleum that I put down here for cooling. So just be aware that that is something that could possibly happen. I genuinely don't know why, but it should be fine for now. If it happens again, I'll try to think of a solution. But with that, we have the Venisat L, which we are going to need to give the same interior treatment as the one we just did before. Alrighty, so second rocket is complete. We've gone ahead and just pretty much built exactly what we built before, except for we just have normal hanging pots. We still have ourselves a bedroom, great hall, washroom, and everything else is set up in here. And of course we got our pickled meal set up. We are running a little low on algae because this asteroid does not have algae and I'm having to slowly ship it over. But 570 kilograms should be fine just for one duplicate, for just like a quick little space mission. So with that, I'm thinking we're going to go ahead and let them finish up this basic nose cone, because we didn't really need to drill one. We may have it done by the time I started recording. Come on, guys. Alright, so we can go ahead and we can change this. Yep, 5 tiles that we can explore out to. Means we can go all the way up to here. We'll go to 5, which is out here. Yeah, so I think we're gonna go up here first. And we're gonna change crew. change that to Bert, and I think we're ready to go. We're going to begin launch sequence. Okay. Go ahead and let Bert hop on in there. Let's see everything get very, very hot in the surrounding area. Alrighty, and with that, we have lifted off. Venisat L is in the air. We've got Bert hooked up, and if Bert's oxygen gets a little low, we'll just have them turn around and, you know, we'll figure it out. But they should be okay, I'm thinking. But with that, we also have blasting off again is back and has already emptied its payload of sandstone and other materials, which we gotta be just absolutely sweet. Yeah, almost 100 tons of sandstone now, and we're increasing in algae as well. So overall, really good. I think what I'm gonna need to start doing is just like transporting algae and diamonds over to Silvola. Especially since I eventually want Silvola to be able to start taking away from the interstellar ocean, so we can get a more reliable supply of ice, because the ice will allow for clean water, obviously, that we can use for our plants, right? And other things. Obviously, I could just refine the salt water that we're getting from the geyser, but we're using that for oxygen. And hopefully we can maybe find a radioactive asteroid nearby, and that will be super useful as well, so we can start getting a more reliable source of uranium for our research reactor, which will run out of enriched uranium. We have 9 tons, so it'll last a while, but eventually it's going to run out. So, now that these two are sent, we're going to go ahead and go see what Venisat L finds out here in the space. Alrighty, so it seems like Bert has discovered our Chirano, which is basically a niobium asteroid. It's going to be an abundance of lava and a like a surface biome, right? So it's pretty much just going to be like a little surface biome, a bunch of lava, and then a bit of niobium at the bottom that you can mine and also get from volcanoes. Now, niobium is not something we necessarily need to worry about right now, but it will be very useful in the future when we want to start making things like liquid oxygen and liquid hydrogen, right? So, niobium is a material that can get very, very hot and get very, very cold. Has a very high in both range, very extreme ranges, I guess is what I'm thinking about. So, next things on the list is we want to start setting up a Radbolt a Radbolt engine, right? Because of the Radbolt engine, we can go even farther, and it'll overall be better. We can go ahead and get rid of the large solid and the liquid tank. Remove those. And we can go ahead and put in the Radbolt engine. Alright, so we've gone ahead and put in the Radbolt engine. Now, Radbolt engines allow you to go really, really far. Right? They have about a 20 tile range. Well, the downside is they have very, very short height. Right, so we are going to have to sacrifice some things. One of them being, right, a large cargo bay. We can go ahead and put in another small cargo bay back in. We just had to remove the artifact module, which is okay, because we don't necessarily need to be collecting artifacts with this one anyways. We could utilize the other rocket ship that we just made over at Silvola, which, by the way, is on its way back. Quick tip, by the way, in your rocket ship, make sure you set your oxygen diffuser to priority 6, and everything else is at priority 5, because if you don't, like what I just realized, Bert never refilled it, and this place was starting to slowly lose oxygen, which is, not the best. So, but with that, next step that we need to do. Hopefully we don't want liquefiable, and we don't want bleach stone, and we want everything gone except for algae. That's good. Now what we need to set up here, or at least what we need to set up next, is kind of a system that we have over here on Silvola, right? This kind of thing we have set up here, where we're going to need a tile with a bit of petroleum, then we put a Radbolt generator on, that can then start launching, you know, some Radbolts. The only thing that is going to be a little complicated is the fact that we need something to cool down the petroleum, aka we need a cooling loop. And for a cooling loop, there's a couple things we could do. We could set up a big old fancy cooling loop like this, right? Or we could just put in like a where is it? A thermoregulator down here and put that up here as well. And then we can move our interplanetary launcher up here as well, which I think overall might be the better idea. So I'm going to go ahead and start deconstructing all this stuff down here and start setting up something for keeping a thermal regulator nice and cool, and then we'll get maybe a hydrogen loop set up. Alrighty, so here's my thought process, right? First of all, gone ahead, replaced with the basic nose cone, basic nose cone, put an artifact transport module and a rover module. This will allow us to have this rocket for the time being focus more on exploration and less on mining. With that, my thought process here is I've gone ahead and put in a thermal regulator, right? And the thermoregulator is going to have a big hydrogen loop, right? That's going to go in, and it's going to cool down these two metal tiles, which have a bit of petroleum on them, and then these two Radbolt generators are sitting on that petroleum. This left one, which is going to be taking in about 3,913 brads per cycle, and it's going to shoot that up into our engine. This one can go to the right and be sent over to a interplanetary launcher, for example, right? So that's kind of this setup here, and then this should be able to stay cool down here, and I'm currently filling the loop up via the excess hydrogen we're producing from our spawn. So it'll be a bit slow to do, but with that, insufficient steel eye. Actually, I think I want to replace this with gold because it'll be cheaper to make the rovers. But with that, I'm going to go ahead and let this fill up, and I'll be right back when it is, and I'll show you when it's functioning. Alrighty, it is now functional. We have 2 Radbolt generators, each collecting about 426 Radbolts per cycle. Obviously, this one's going to be flipped to the right, but you can choose on whether you want it to be focusing on Radbolt engine or over to the right where we're going to have our interplanetary launcher. I did have to swap these out to igneous rock. I originally had them as obsidian, I think it was. They were too thermally reactive. And I think what was happening was, even though this is the vacuum of space, the heat from here is jumping down to here. Like it's a diagonal jump, and it was heating this thing up. But making this thing igneous rock, and so it's less likely to heat up very quickly, the cooling loop that we have set up is kind of counteracting it. I also went ahead and put a metal tile in the middle and we'll probably actually go ahead and put in another thing. Like that. There we go. Just so I don't accidentally lose any gas. We'll go ahead and make this also a radiant pipe, just so we can have maximum or 3 tiles worth of cooling on these to help keep this cool. It did jump up to 70.9, but that was before I switched it out the igneous rock. So it should hopefully, I think it is slowly cooling down. Currently I have this thing set to 20 degrees, but I think we could probably get away with 25 and possibly even 30. I'll have to play around to see what the maximum temperature we can get away with before it starts to overheat. But with that, we now have the Radbolt engine filling up quite quickly. So while this is filling up, I'm going to go ahead and quickly just set up our interplanetary launcher setup that we had down here, just kind of moved up. Okay, now, this may look complicated, but I think I got it figured out. Okay, so the way this works is we have the Radbolt, with the interplanetary launcher set up here, they're saying if this is full, turn something off, right? Originally we would have the Radbolt generator turn off, but that'd be a waste of Radbolts, right? So, instead, what we can do now is have a Radbolt reflector system that basically is set up like this, right? The Radbolt goes through the first reflector it hits, which it's going to go into this reflector, shoot up, and it's going to hit this reflector. Right now, this reflector is turned off, so it actually passes through that reflector and goes to this one. If it did hit this reflector, it would go to the right, jump up, come here, and jump back down into the interplanetary launcher. If this is full, it'll skip this one, jump up, jump here, or actually just jump up and go straight into the Radbolt engine. Now, what I also need to set up, I also in the Radbolt engine have it set up so basically when this thing gets full, it'll send a green signal, go through the NOT gate, tell this guy to turn off, right? And I also need to set up the same thing as... I need to set up an OR gate, right? We need to set up an OR that just says if this guy is green or this guy is green, turn this guy on, right? So it also doesn't continuously go forever, is the idea. Put it here? No. We'll put it here. Because I don't want to risk it accidentally getting too hot from this thing, because heat can be a little weird in this game. We'll just copy this wire, plug it in there, plug you into there, and plug that one into there just like so. Alrighty, so automation setup is working nice. Temperature, stable. And these guys are going to stay nice and calm, which means while they're not active, they should be cooling themselves down too. Which is great. Alrighty, so with that, I think we are ready. Why is there a suit in here? Can someone come please vacuum this, get this suit out of here? Okay, so with that, we should be able to change, and we can go 20 tiles now. Which is actually 10 someplace and 10 back, which basically doubles our distance we can travel. Right, we can now access these little forested ore fields. We can come all the way down here. We can go up above. Now, I'm thinking, first place we should go, let's go south. I'm thinking south, right? So it's 8 tiles to go here. And that should hopefully get both of those question marks. Okay, so that is set up. Did someone get the Atlas suit out of there? Yep. It has food, it has algae. I think we are ready to go. I think we can go ahead and then begin launch sequence. And for me to go ahead and join. And, by the way, as soon as this begins to launch... So it's producing a gas called nuclear fallout that is very, very hot. And on top of that, it will also be producing nuclear waste and an immense amount of radiation, by the way. Oh my god. Did that reach all the way over here? That just completely got rid of my petroleum. Awesome. And it melted the automation wire. Well, that's fun. Guess I'll go ahead and fix that, but hey, at least our rocket's in space now, right? Well, it is in flight empty space will be there in 3.3 cycles. And then let's go ahead and check the inside. Everything is vibing. I'm gonna go ahead and fix what has been caused over here, and I'll be right back. Alrighty, so I just basically built a wall here, and I reset up the automation system that basically just says, sends a green signal when the rocket is on the platform, and this will send a green signal, obviously, when the container is full. So when the rocket is not on the platform, it'll send a red signal, which will then not get into green. If this is, if the tank is not full, it will send a red signal until it is, and that'll not gate to green. This is an OR gate, basically saying if either one of these are green, then send green. Then green not gates back into red, which then, you know, tells our guys to turn off. So basically, if the rocket lands, if the rocket's not on the platform, these guys don't go off. If the rocket, if it's, you know, fuel storage isn't full, then these guys can go on. If it's full, these guys turn off. I'm just now realizing that I am not gating from off to on to off, not gate back to off. Hold on. Am I silly here? Am I literally just like... I mean, it works, but like, it doesn't need to be this complicated. Right? This guy would stay as a NOT gate. Because it sends a green signal when it's full. Means it would send a red signal. It needed to be on. So that's correct. It sends a green signal when it's on the platform. So this doesn't necessarily need to be... This doesn't need to be a NOT gate. This can just be a normal gate. So okay. And then this can go back to an AND gate. And then I can get rid of that NOT gate. Alrighty, so with that, our rocket has gone ahead and come down here and did a lot of telescoping. And we've discovered our temporal tear, which is currently closed. Fun fact, I've actually never been through the temporal tear on the Spaced Out DLC. I've been through it on the normal oxygen not included before the DLC came out. So it'll be really fun to go through it in the DLC. We've also found Russell's teapot, which we'll want to collect eventually, but even with the Radbolt engine, we don't really have the distance to get all the way down here. We have the frozen ore asteroid and a couple of oily asteroids, so that's exciting. I'm thinking next place to go is probably east, and then we'll go north and then south. Just try to fill up or discover the rest of this place, so we can discover all of our asteroids. And then we can start working on the achievement for dropping either a duplicate or a robot on each asteroid, right? We can start working on getting rovers put onto each of the asteroids and get that achievement done. In the meantime, our achievement for radiating crops is going really well. So far, we have irradiated meal lice. Actually, let's just read it. Oh, they're really gonna be all buggy. There we go. So we've already analyzed a mutated mealwood, bristle blossom, and spindly grapefruit. We're now working on the mushrooms, the dust caps, but I'm waiting for this room to fill just with some more carbon dioxide. I'm just slowly taking in the excess carbon dioxide that I'm generating from my base. So that's exciting. With that, I set up a quick little conveyor loader that down here that goes all the way up and into our interplanetary launcher, so I can go send over some algae and some diamonds to our Silvola asteroid, so we can eventually get some a diamond mining drill here and get algae inside of the the rocket itself. So all in all, we are doing really good right now, right? I think next thing to do is, first of all, I think we need to increase our food production by just a little bit, because currently we're making exactly enough, and I think we're going to want to create a little bit of excess, especially if we're going to be storing it in the asteroid as well. But with that, I'm going to end today's episode here. I hope you all enjoyed it, and we may not have built a whole lot, but I think that rocketry-wise, I was supposed to say asteroid-wise, rocketry-wise, we did really good. I think we got a lot done, moved some things around, we got some new clean loops and stuff set up, and I'll have to test it when this thing lands back to see if it absolutely decimates petroleum again. But from what I'm understanding was, the fallout gas basically came down here and hit these tiles, and then it cooled enough to become nuclear waste liquid, and then that displaced the petroleum, and I think that's what the issue was. So I built a wall here, I built this little overhang as well, so hopefully the gas will be wanting to go upwards rather than downwards, and hopefully that should help. So, with that, I hope you all have a nice day. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you can or if you want. And either way, I really appreciate y'all just watching the videos. I hope to see you in future ones. And with that, I hope you all have a nice night. Bye-bye.